So Rafa, here's the device, right? We'll get a nice close-up at it. Take us through an overview of the device, what's unique about it, and then maybe we can pull her apart and look at the contents.
Yeah, so what you're seeing now is really just the organ chamber and the perfusion system. The transport case, which is part of the whole product, right, is still in development. We have a prototype. But this is really the heart of the whole system, of the VPS Encore system. This top part is basically the perfusion module, where you have your pumps, your oxygenator. It connects to an umbilical cable that contains two cables. One is the electronic component to control the perfusion, the flow, the temperature. And then the other cable connects to a gas tank, the oxygen tank. Mm-hmm. And then the bottom part is the organ chamber, where it fills with perfusate. And then the cannula, and then obviously the heart is a pretty small heart for now, but it's just a test, right? It's a prototype. Mm-hmm. So this is the entire device, really. Most, like I said, all the devices are larger size, pretty big chambers, roller pumps, everything is contained in here. Mm-hmm. And that's the intention, obviously, for the clinical device. The final clinical device would be to keep it. It's actually even smaller than this.
And this is, so this opens up. So if I want to access this, pretty straightforward. Just clamps, seals.
Mm-hmm. This is basically how the heart is.
And the heart will be clamped onto there? Uh-huh. And that's the cannula that gets into the heart that keeps it infused all the time?
Right, that's where it's getting perfused.
Yeah.
So in the transplant case, the cannula would be separated. Obviously, when they take the heart out, they connect the cannula. We'll have cannulas for different sizes for the aorta. It goes through the aorta. Mm-hmm. The perfusion goes up to the aorta, and it's being perfused through the coronary arteries. And it comes out of the sinus. So once the surgeon cannulates the heart, the cannula is placed in this perfusion connector. Mm-hmm. It gets lower into the system. This whole thing is full of perfusate. And then the pump, the head goes back on. It gets primed. Obviously, you need to prime the head. Connects. It's lower into the transport case that keeps it cold. Mm-hmm. There's some phase-changing material that goes around the canister. Keeps it cold between 4 to 8 degrees Celsius. Connects. You turn it on, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah. So much more simpler platform than existing technologies today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what has been the biggest aha moment for you as you developed this as a scientist? So you obviously came in with certain assumptions with the VPS platform. What has been the biggest surprise so far?
I think the biggest surprise has been seeing the evolution of it from being a very small, tiny little 3D printed prototype in the lab, then hiring a very competent engineer that took the design, developed it, modified it, and then perfusing it. Obviously, when the heart is being perfused hypothermia, you don't see anything, right? You just see the heart being filled. The most aha moment is in-house when you take the heart out, you weigh it, you do samples to make sure that the tissue is okay, and then you connect it to another machine called a Langendorf system. It's basically resembles the body. The heart is placed in the Langendorf, starts warming up, and as it warms up, the heart starts moving and contracting. And obviously, you have to defibrillate. That for us was the biggest aha moment because we had measures of viability. We can measure oxygen consumption, right? And that gives you an idea, but it's nothing, it's a number. Mm-hmm. But seeing the heart being there and beating that's our first one. The second one was we have a great partnership with the Texas Organ Sharing Alliance in San Antonio. They're our OPO. They've been wonderful. So we have a research collaboration with them. When there's an organ that is unsuitable for transplantation, they send it to us. So we usually go down the street to the hospital, pick up the heart in a box, just like it is for transport, set it up in the system, and that was the second biggest aha moment. I think we all were even tears. We had some tears because it was preserved for this in our system for 8 hours, placed it on Langendorf. This is a human heart, right, of someone that died and gave his heart for research. we took care of in the Encore, put it on the Langendorf to rewarm, and then seeing the heart beating, it was also a pretty cool moment for us.
Your category, that transplant business, is a category where it includes two patients, right? The sacrificial donor and then the recipient. And there's not a lot of industries like that in the medtech industry. When you and I were chatting in the green room earlier, the camaraderie in the transplant business, even from company to company, even from competitor to competitor, you guys chat with each other a lot because it feels like it's a bigger, nobler effort.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I think it's a very unique industry, and you're right. There's the two patients, right? The one that gave his life, and the organs are gonna give life to another person, and then obviously the recipient. And between us, the companies that are around, I think we talk to each other. It's a very unique niche market. Investors are still trying to figure out what's happening with this industry. And it's also a very collaborative industry, right? Because and even the transplant world, it's not only the surgeon, it's the nurse or the organ advocate or the donor advocate that talks to the family to convince them sometimes to donate their organs. It goes from all the way from there to the wonderful ICU nurse that is taking care of the donor once they're brain dead, right? They're just caring for them, making sure their organs are working right. To the surgeon, the transplant team, the pilot for the airplane. I mean, it's such a huge collaboration of people. So it's very interesting also, working with other companies. Like you said, yeah, some are competitors, but there's this very collaborative effort between all of us because we understand that there's a huge need in this market that I think, even though we're competitors, we need to work together to educate investors, obviously, because we need money to be able to take this technology to the market, and also the community. And the cool thing about it is to think that, 20 years, 30 years ago, it was abstract to think that we could keep an organ in a machine alive outside of the body. And now it's becoming the norm. Well, not the norm. Obviously, there's still a huge room for improvement. But now, for example, kidneys can be put in a pump, keep it alive for hours, and then do the transplant. So I think it's a pretty interesting time that we're living in this space. It's exciting. And you're right, there's some wonderful companies out there that we all talk to each other, and we're friends with them.
That's the way it should be. Well, Rafa, thank you for sharing the VPS platform with us. And we'll, with the rest of the industry, be watching closely.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joe, for having me. This is awesome.
You got it, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm Joe Mullings from 160 Studios. Be well.